Hello, Ruthie Renee with Quantum Field Trips, back here again for day 8 of 31, letting go, spring cleaning for your mind, body, and soul. Today I have with me Denise Druce, and she is not just any regular yoga instructor. She's actually a yoga therapist, and there's some different certifications going on with that. I'll let you tell us all about that in just a moment. Today in our Let Go technique that I'm going to share, I want to continue on this road of it doesn't have to be hard. And I hope that you enjoyed the meditation I gave where you can just relax and allow your body to release. And we talked about dancing, moving your body to release. Today, we're going to talk about the benefits of yoga and how yoga can help you release pinned up trauma, triggers, all kinds of energy bound. Remember, energy and motion is just what the emotion is, and that can be blocked or stopped or bound, and we hold it in our body, in our tissue. So Denise, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you decided to not just be a yoga instructor, why you wanted to be a yoga therapist, and what even is a yoga therapist.
Okay, let's start there. I have been a fitness instructor for over 40 years. And about 20 years into my fitness career, I stumbled on a yoga training, just a little weekend training, and I just added a little bit of yoga to what I was already doing. And I loved it so much that I decided to get certified as a yoga teacher. And as you know, the standard certification is 200 hours. Mm-hmm. And then if someone wants to go to an advanced training, they can become a 500-hour teacher, which I did. And then I guess I just love learning. I love always just continuing to learn and put more certificates on the wall. But the next step would be a 1,000-hour training that would make you a yoga therapist. And so I did that 3 years ago. And yoga therapy is where, let's say it's where yoga meets physical therapy. So on a structural level, we can help people with imbalances in their bodies. It's where yoga meets talk therapy and brings in that psychosomatic piece that you're talking about, that the body and the mind are inextricably connected. And we can't just work on the body piece. We've got to learn to connect those two. And yoga therapy also delves into some of the energy properties of, like some of the things like Reiki or energy work, or you just referred to like moving stuck energy. So I view a yoga therapist as having this triangle of the structural, the psycho-emotional, and the energetic piece, just to add to yoga.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. That makes sense. And how exciting. I do, going way back to when I started my yoga certification was like 25 years ago. And I had some of my religious friends were like, oh my gosh, Ruthie, are you like falling away? You're gonna that Eastern, you're gonna like leave Christ. And then I found out that like the literal word yoga is just to yoke. We're yoking our mind and body, so we're congruent and on the same path. Looking at your clientele, do you see any division with your Christian students versus? Do you have any of your Christian students falling away and leaving the path of Jesus Christ because they're doing yoga? Let me just.
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. Let me answer it with two scenarios. One is I live in Salt Lake City, Utah, where we have the predominant religion here is Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, and they are Christian. I usually don't run into LDS people that have that concern. However, I'm married to a family. My husband's family are all evangelical Christians, and they very much think that. When I first started yoga 20 years ago, they called in the prayer team and tried to pray the yoga out of me. And they really were very, very concerned about what you're talking about. Yeah. So I get it. I have not seen people come to yoga and then fall away from Christ. But I do see a lot of people come to yoga after they have left the religion of their youth, after they've gone through a crisis of faith of some sort that they were raised with, spiritual beliefs, and they for whatever reason, don't hold those anymore. I find a lot of people find some peace in a practice like yoga, where you can still have a higher power, you can still have a spiritual practice, but I've never seen yoga take that from someone. I hope that's a good answer, but I really see that yoga desires to come alongside your religious and spiritual beliefs and give you a quieter mind, give you a more calm body, give you more presence while you practice your spiritual path.
That was so eloquently stated. Thank you very much. I haven't seen the problem with that as well. The only problem I see is where people get trapped and scared to even practice it for fear of what it will do. And no judgment to those people. Like I had my own questions in the beginning. We want to stay congruent with what our core tells us to do. And I would just, if you're somebody that's watching me and thinking, what, why are you bringing up yoga? I thought you were a Christian. I just would invite you to question those beliefs and where did it come from? And then the ultimate test, practice it, try it out and see how it feels for you. Because I know for me, it's like exactly what you said. I get on the mat, I get on my knees, and I quiet my mind and I come inward, and I can feel spirit. I can feel my body congruent with me and moving in such a way that it's beautiful reception from spirit. Anyway, okay. Just wanted to clear that up so that in case anybody had that thought, I invite you to let it go. About letting go. And speaking of letting go, one thing that I saw in my practice when I was teaching, I first saw it within myself when I was going through a lot of time and opening to different postures that you weren't used to in your regular online or whatever. And I had an instance where I broke open something in my heart. I was doing a posture where I was opening and something like audibly cracked and I sobbed. There was no physical pain, but it broke open the ice around my heart is what I said it did. It broke open that trigger and I sobbed and I have no idea what it was attached to. And my teacher, thank goodness, came over and just stood with me, put her hand on my back and need to continue to sob, just let it out. And that's all she said, let it go. I was like, I'm crying. And she said, it doesn't matter. You just let it go. You don't need to store that anymore. And I saw that then with some of my students. So since you've been practicing more intently than me, do you know what that is and how it works? And can you explain it?
I'm not sure that I can explain it. I'll do my best. First of all, your experience was common and very valid. I love your saying the ice cracked around my heart. I might take that moving forward. That's beautiful. Sure. I sometimes think of it as like really tight string or barbed wire. And part of that is more physical, that we kind of live like this, with our shoulders rounded and our arms out in front of us. And when we've gone through sadness, grief, a broken heart, we kind of live in that posture. I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I found myself years after all of my treatments just being a lot more like protecting that part of my body. So part of the physicality of just opening up to extreme opposites, I think is simply physical. And when we feel that big release physically, it might be kind of shocking to our nervous system. So I think there can be that very simple description sometimes. But what you're talking about goes much, much deeper, right? The emotional storage, the junk drawers in the body.
Like that.
The best author I can recommend is Bessel van der Kolk, who wrote The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, yes.
And if you want the scientific description of what's happening there, there's a book this thick that will tell you at a neurochemical level what's happening in the body with these emotional releases.
Okay.
But the bottom line is an emotional reaction to anything. Let's say you got really scared or startled or angry. There's a cascade of chemicals that pours through your body when you feel emotions. And if you just pause to think that we're just made of like what 50 trillion little balls of energy and water. And if that's really a chemical, which it is, where does it go? Right? If that's cascading through our bodies, it takes about 90 seconds to like literally feel that emotion. But if our brain doesn't let go of that situation after 90 seconds, like we're choosing to hold on to those chemicals. And then where do they go? They tend to go in the places of the body that are folded, tight, and tense. Think hip flexors, right? When we say we hold a bunch of store a bunch of emotions in our bodies, we call the hip flexors the anger muscles. Our hips are literally like the biggest junk drawer in the body, right here in the shoulders, the lymph nodes, the back of the neck. It just gets stuck, and it's chemical and it's energy. And yoga invites us to do exactly what you said: open and soften and create an exit point.
Well, that was just perfect right there. And I hope everybody heard it, so I'm going to repeat it. It gives you opportunity to open and soften and give the stored up energy an exit point.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I found myself, I was like, oh, this is good. I'm taking notes. I'm like, oh, I'm recording it. I can rewatch it. So fun. So
Let
yeah.
me, can I show you like a
Now it's
physical
exit.
example?
Yes, yes, please do.
We work a lot with kids. We go into schools, and my nonprofit works with kids. And right now we're doing some things with teens, because this is so, like, if you could learn this when you were 13, can you imagine
Yeah.
where you'd be now? And
Yeah.
so when we're talking about letting go, like if you make a fist, and let's just say your fist is full of, you're trying to hold water in your fist, or sand. Let's make it more concrete. Trying to hold sand in your hand, right? And then you want to get to the sand because you want to build something. If you come in and like pry and pull and like I feel like that's what we're trying to do when we force ourselves to let go.
Mm.
But the visual of like, you know what? I really just don't have to squeeze that tight. I really could just like open my hand. And then some of the sand is still there, but there's going to be a lot that I can just let go if I simply just soften. I just need to soften a little bit. I'm holding that so tightly. Just the act of softening the body allows for some of that to trickle out, and not all of it. Right? It might take a little squeezing and opening, but over time we can start to just have more clear space in our bodies.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for that visual. I hope everybody can. I do the opening. I like the idea of you're holding something in there,
Yeah.
and that it's your thoughts, and everything goes back to our thoughts, even if they're not perceivable thoughts, the
Mm-hmm.
allowance to let go. I thought, as you were talking about it, I think of the children or the adults that have the paralyzing whatever form of autoimmune or something that's causing their muscles to atrophy, sometimes after a stroke or whatever, and then
Mm-hmm.
go in with massage. And if you force that hand open, it's painful. But if
Mm-hmm.
they can have the gentle touch and massage and go further and start where the connection goes to,
Mm-hmm.
then it automatically softens and opens. So that's what I thought. Allow first the thought, the idea, oh, maybe I could let this go. What if that would be beneficial? Let's just see how that would feel if I soften.
Yeah.
So neat. So I love that you work with teenagers because they already have a lot of storage. I love the junk drawer too. I'm going to
Yeah.
use that. We'll trade. Who else do you work with where you see this softening and opening and releasing of tension and triggers?
I think where I see it the most is in my work in the prison. And our nonprofit teaches yoga and does yoga teacher training inside of our prison here in the state of Utah. And we work with both women and men. And you can imagine, like, where you are walking into a room of, I would call it big T trauma. I can't think of a student who hasn't reported stories of domestic abuse, sexual abuse, physical, mental, emotional. They obviously come from a rough background that led them to choices that got them where they are. And it doesn't take much for just in a yoga practice for them to start to just feel those things releasing. There was a guy in my class last Saturday morning, and he's this burly guy, and we sat up at the end and he's like, "Why does yoga make your eyes leak?"
Aw.
It was just
And
really cute. Like,
now
he's doing this.
yes, we just explained the answers. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that you do that. Every human is special and important, and we have no idea what leads other people to do some of the actions that they've decided to do. And it doesn't make them less valuable as a soul. It just
Yeah.
means that they had pain and they
Mhm.
reacted poorly. So
Yeah.
I love that you give that opportunity, and they get to be trained as well. How
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
So okay, so you teach with teenagers, you teach and share in prisons. What if somebody watching today says, "Oh, I want to work with Denise"?
Oh, I would love that. I do have a YouTube channel where I have over 700 yoga, meditation, and fitness videos. And it's just my name, Denise Druce, on YouTube. I teach virtual classes every Monday and Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Okay.
And they're live. And so I've got a lovely little audience of people here on Zoom. This is my studio right here. We do yoga together. Those classes are always free or by donation. I'm pretty easy to find on social. I'm on Instagram and Facebook just with my name. So if anyone wants to just reach out, maybe even just my website is my name as well, denisdruce.com, and then send a message and I'll link you up to how we can work together.
Well, that is so beautiful. I will be joining you Monday, did you say?
Mondays at 10 a.m. at Mountain Standard. Mhm.
Okay, Mondays at 10 a.m. That is, oh, that's right after my meeting. So perfect timing. I will see you there. So I hope that I see other friends from here join me with some yoga with Denise on Monday mornings, and we will just release together.
Yeah.
Ah, that's what I love when life gives you opportunity for growth and healing, and it's easy
I love that too.
and feels so good. So much for sharing your wisdom and your time and today. I sure appreciate it, and we'll hope to see you all Monday morning.
My pleasure. Thanks, Ruthie. I really appreciate meeting you, and you're doing good things in the world. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And now, so for everybody watching, join us Monday morning for yoga. Join me for the next few days as we learn release techniques and what happens when it's more tricky than just letting it go out of your tissue. There are times when we have to go back and find that lie, find that program, and realign it with our core truth. And I'm going to show you techniques. So come join us back then. And until then, have a wonderful day. Go look up Denise Druce on YouTube right now. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful
Thank
day.
you.